We're going to call the regular city council meeting to order at 7:01 p.m. on Monday, August 17th, 2026. We're here in the city council chambers, and the first item on the agenda is a roll call. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Pro Tem Balk.
Here.
Mayor LaRussa.
Here.
Councilmember Parkins.
Here.
Councilmember Schneeman.
Here.
And Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to call on Miss Margot Wood to approach the microphone to lead us in the pledge. Please stand if you're able and place the flag, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Good job. Thank you, Margot. That brings us to item 3 on the agenda tonight, public comment. This is the first portion of the meeting where members of the public who wish to address the city council may do so. We ask that you please state your name and address for the record, and if you can, please keep your comments to 3 to 5 minutes. And hopefully, if something pertaining to something on the agenda this evening. Is there anyone that would like to make public comment at this time? Yes, ma'am. Please, right over here, and state your name and address for the clerk, please.
My name is Marilyn Wolf, 23259 Lilac, Farmington. Good evening. Thank you for your time and attention. I've been living in the neighborhood of Floral Park since 1972. I'm here with my neighbors on my street of Lilac to voice our concerns. There has been an extreme increasing amount of blight in our neighborhood. I have sent emails, which I have copied from various years, and the most recent 26, 25, 24, 23, and I have received the response that we are looking into it. My other concern is the potholes on Fink Street, which leads us into our Floral Park from Orchard Lake. And I have included these in the emails and have been told they're looking at the budget. And the city leader that I spoke to, Public Works Superintendent, agreed that it needed more than just patching. Because no changes have occurred over these years of my emails and speaking to people and talking to them on the phone, I am very discouraged. I'm discouraged that Floral Park is ignored, underrepresented, overlooked. And I would like you to take our concerns very seriously. There are policies for enforcement of the blight and help make our entrance into Floral Park much better. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Ma'am?
Hi there. I, too, am from Floral Park. My name is Kim Thompson Everett, 23210. I have been here before, and I'm sorry this maybe doesn't fit with the agenda of the meeting, but we have our neighbors together. It's a time we could all attend and get our point across. I've lived in Floral Park since 1979. We have a lot of concerns affecting where we live. Usually I do a bullet point. I'm actually going to read so I don't stray. This is a special neighborhood. We've lived here long term, many of us 30+ years. We have an intergenerational community all of our own. We are not simply a gateway to downtown Farmington. Master Plan and Grand River Corridor states things like East Gateway concepts to transform modest commercial strip into a welcoming and gateway signaling entry to the downtown district and to set a positive first impression. We also would like to have a positive first impression because we actually live there. Blight is a huge problem in our neighborhood. It ranges from unoccupied homes Behind me, over 20 years. I have been to meetings, over 20 years it's been empty. Commercial vehicles parked on the street, multiple rental properties that are not properly maintained, fences moved, and now commercial vehicles being parked on the lawn, car repair businesses, homes and landscape in ill repair. We can and have notified the city, but if there is no enforcement of code, there is little more that we can do. Ordinances were made with good intentions for the community. However, they need to be consistently enforced. When enforcement does not happen, it affects all of us. We share the same zip code. It erodes our property values. Trees used to be maintained differently than they are now. This is no longer the case. During the last 2 sidewalk replacement, trees were cut directly through the root flare. The reason? For a straight sidewalk, easier to do, less money. The trees in our neighborhood were old and were at the end of their lifespan. This has been hastened by poor ecological decisions. If anyone walked our neighborhood, they would see in the past many areas that the sidewalks indeed did go around the trees. The loss of the trees has had a detrimental effect on the appearance of our community. Walkability is a word I hear often about downtown Farmington. For us, walking on Grand River itself between Lakeway and Powers is terrifying. Cars go by so close, and certainly most are not going 35. Access to Shiawassee Park. There's talk of a switchback, which would be great. It's from downtown. Our access to Shiawassee is equally as daunting with steep steps. There seems to be an inequity investing on one side of the park and not the other. Who is being valued upon entering the park? Pocket parks are being introduced around downtown. We love them. They're great. We had one a number of years ago. It was removed. Let's recreate it. The very least, could we get a bench, something back in this lovely little area that we have? It would be wrong if I did not include a conversation concerning the winery, Farmington Junction, Detroit Urban Railroad. It lasted 3 decades, from 1900 to 1930. In the time I have lived here, it has fallen into total disrepair. Companies should not be able to buy property and/or buildings and have no timeline to their improvement. Let them erode and then cry, "Too far gone." This is a part of our historic little town. This council should be fighting hard to save it. You have all heard about the train station. It can be done. We don't have Ford's deep pockets, but things can be done. And it was way worse than the winery. The chimney alone is worth saving. I don't know if any of you have gone and seen the chimney swifts when they're migrating. It's unearthly. It's amazing. It's really a remarkable force. Play it up. Try and save it. Don't shrug your shoulders and say, it's too far gone or it's too hard. A lot of what I said is negative. Instead of this being contentious, I would really like to be able for this to be positive and what we can do together to help us in Floral Park. Thank you for listening to our very real concerns. But truly, this has been ongoing, and we're as far east as you can go. It's like you cross over Orchard Lake and we're not there. And that's it's not just me. So we would appreciate anything you can do to help us out. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Sweeney.
Mr. Mayor, I'm Michael Sweeney. I'm one of your preparedness commissioners. My office is at 26105 Orchard Lake. And I would also like to greet members of council and members of staff. 23 years ago this weekend, I was getting ready to go home. It was an interesting way to finish the day. All the power went off in the building. And I thought, okay, I worked at the Dano Tech Center, and it was not uncommon for the power to go off. So what the heck? I'm going to close up my stuff, get in my car, and go home. Well, as I got out on the Southfield Freeway, surprise, there was no power anywhere. Getting home took about 2 hours. Every intersection was a game of blind man's bluff. Got home, no power at the house either. Fired up my emergency radio. Yeah, I have an emergency radio. Followed my emergency radio and found out that a power outage had started in Ohio, It went as far east as New York and went around the lakes and took out the Canadians, came over here and took us out as well. Very interesting way to start a long weekend. Conversations with my sons about no, they were not going to jump in the car and go visit their friends because the gasoline we had in our car was the gasoline we had in our car. My younger brother, who was in the Army at the time, called up to see if I needed any help. And it's a brother's thing. I said, just a moment, I have to turn down my battery-powered TV. I can't hear you. That's how brothers get about these things. But we went through the house and did a quick survey of the supplies. And sure enough, we have 3 days worth of food, water, health, maintenance, medicines. We had our $100 in small bills and a couple of rolls of quarters. We had a can opener. We had to look for the manual can opener because we had the electric can opener right there on the counter. So again, in your supply kit, you should have a manual can opener. It was the beginning of a long 3 days before power came back to our house, but a longer part of 2 weeks for the power to come back to the whole region. Just recently, we had a reminder of that, the July 3rd storm. And thank you, Mayor LaRusso, for taking the point and talking to the Michigan Public Services Committee Commission about we need more attention. They have done a lot of work. DTE has done a lot of work, but there's still work that needs to be done. And while they're doing their part, on our website, farmgov.com, /citycouncil/commissions, you will find this book. And on page 23 of this book, you'll find a nice list of all the supplies you should already have in your house. And today, while the sun is shining and everything's nice and pretty and the stores are open, I recommend you go get everything that's on this list so that the next time the power goes out for the first 3 days, you're using your candles to read your books, to cook your food, and have a good time with your family and friends. And also, I would ask, these are in the lobby, that you go and get a copy or use the QR code, get Okalurk on your phone so that you can get the news updates through your cell phone. So we use a thing called What 3 Words. This comes from the hunting community. If you fall down and you call 911 and you say, I'm at the third oak tree past the maple grove, they don't know how to find you. But if you get an app on your phone called What 3 Words, you push it, and it'll give you 3 words, and they're randomized, but 3 words that tell where you are within 50 feet. You call 911, and you tell them, I'm at whatever it is, shelter, clothing, ducks. And they say, okay, can you share that with us? You hit share. Now the police officers, the public safety officers who are coming to help you, they know exactly where you are. Within 10 feet if you're in the city, 50 feet if you're in the national forest. I recommend you get both of those applications on your phone. And I'm at 4 minutes, so with that, I'll say thank you very much and let the rest of the festivities go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sweeney. Appreciate your comment. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, ma'am.
Hello. This is my first time here. I'm a new resident. My name is Kim Hart. I'm at 23192 Lilac Street. Friends with these lovely ladies who spoke first. I'm a new resident. I've been here since 2023. I actually bought a house on Lilac because my daughter bought a house on Floral. So I have grandchildren. I'm 1 street over. She's at the corner of Shiawassee. My grandchildren, when they moved in, were 4 and 6. And she was so excited to be on a street that had a dead end because she thought, oh my gosh, it's going to be so quiet. Well, she learned quickly that Shiawassee is a racetrack. We were really excited when we saw the little speed monitor on the end toward Orchard Lake because we thought, okay, this is going to help. It's gone now. I don't really know how those work if we can get another one. I thought it would be better to maybe put one down where it changes from 35 to 25 because it's 25 in the section where we live. But while that was up, every time a speeding car was going west, we kind of just go out to the front corner and see. And many times the cars were going 50 miles an hour and weren't slowing down. So if there's anything at all that you all could do, whether it be another of those monitors down a little further, or maybe officers circling, it would be great because it's very dangerous between pets and the kids. it's a little nerve-wracking. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else for public comment? There's a second public comment later in the meeting, so if you need to gather your thoughts and wait for that one, you can make comment later in the meeting. Anyone else for this public comment? Thank you. Thank you. Seeing none, first public comment is closed. That brings us to item 4 on the agenda, approval of the items on the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support. Motion by Mrs. Bulk, supported by Mr. Parkins. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. That brings us to item 5, approval of the items on the regular agenda. Is there a motion?
Move to approve the items, move to approve the regular agenda with the addition of adding a new item 7G, Principal Shopping District Agreement?
Renewal
Renewal.
resolution.
Renewal resolution.
Removal of item 10.
Yeah, and removal of item 10, because we
And
already.
removal of item 10, closed session. Thank you.
Motion by Ms. Taylor, supported by Mr. Schneeman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to presentations and public hearings. First item on that agenda is promotions of public safety officers. Chief Hohannessyn, the floor is yours. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you, Mayor LaRussa, members of City Council, and our city manager, Mr. Murphy. I'm here this evening to present to you 4 members who are recently promoted. There are only a few guarantees in life, and one of those seems to be change, and boy, it seems like we have a lot of change going on lately. As members progress through their careers, they take on new responsibilities and promote up the ranks. It's important for us to take a few moments to reflect on their hard work and to take a time to look at how they got here and to reaffirm why they chose this noble profession. We are here to recognize Shane Wash, Mike Weir, Will Wood, and Lisa Kobernick, who collectively have over 73 years of institutional knowledge with the Farmington Public Safety Department. But just as important to that, they bring experience from previous professions and other departments. On top of what they've learned here, they possess a wealth of knowledge and life experience that helps form a well-rounded supervisor. They have worked in just about every capacity in this department, from the Patrol Division, Detective Bureau, and School Resource Officers. They are field training officers who have helped others in instructional and leadership roles, all of which have prepared them for their next assignments. I'm proud to promote and support these leaders, and we entrust them with our department. They have definitely earned it. I would like to invite Lisa Kobernick to join me, please. Lisa is joined here tonight by her husband, Jordan, and their son, Caden. Caden, I can't imagine having both parents in law enforcement and now both as supervisors. I'm pretty sure you can't get away with anything much these days. Lisa joined the department in January of 2015, but prior to that, she worked in the private sector as a supervisor with Palace Sports Entertainment. There, she managed hundreds of employees and coordinated security for some very high-profile events. I remember when she started here, I told her I had high hopes for her to move up the chain. And at that time, she told me that she just wanted to learn how to be the best officer she could. I knew that someday you would eventually have stripes on your sleeves, Lisa. Lisa holds an associate's degree from OCC and a bachelor's degree from Oakland University. Lisa serves as a field training officer and has spent the last 4 years assigned to our Special Operations Division, working the department's school resource officer. The school is very sad to hear that she is moving on from that position, but equally happy to see her promote to sergeant. Since joining the department, Lisa has been awarded 5 letters of appreciation, 1 longevity award, 1 safe driving award, 10 unit citations, 2 life-saving awards, and has been named Officer of the Year. I'd like to invite Lisa's husband, Jordan, to join us. I'd also like to introduce our clerk, Mrs. Bachman. She's the clerk for the city of Farmington and will be administering the supervisory oath of office.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the provisions of the Charter, all ordinances of the City of Farmington, and to faithfully discharge your duties as a sergeant of the Public Safety Department to the best of your ability?
Yes, I do.
Sign twice. Here and there. And that is for you. Congratulations.
Certificate of promotion, this officer shall have the authority, responsibility, and privileges appropriate to the rank of sergeant on this day, on June 15th, 2026. Say a few words.
Thank you, everyone. I truly appreciate your kind words. Having my, two best men here obviously is a huge thing for me. So, but thank you. I hope to be able to serve this community, serve this city, serve this board, and my fellow peers to the best of my ability. And so, thank you. I appreciate you all.
Congratulations, Sergeant Kobernick. I'm proud to see that you promoted to the rank of sergeant. I would like to invite Will Wood to join me, please. In attendance tonight with Will is his wife, Mary, his daughter, Margot, his parents, and mother and father-in-law. Will joined the Farmington Public Safety Department in 2006 and quickly made this his home. When Will joined, he was a lieutenant with the Troy Fire Department and served as a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps. Will spent a few years on the road before transitioning to our Special Operations Division. There he honed his skills as a detective before taking on a new role as a fire marshal. Even when staffing levels fluctuated and we had to bounce him from between the road and the office, he never complained. Will understood what the needs of the department were, and he went with the flow. It wasn't a difficult decision when Will threw his hat into the ring for promotion, because I already knew what his commitment to the department was and how dedicated he is. During his tenure, along with being a detective and fire marshal, Will has held roles as a field training officer, a firearms instructor, fire investigator with the South Oakland Fire Investigation Team, known as SOFIT, a fire instructor, and has been a member of the Oakland County Mobile Field Force. He is also an original member of our Honor Guard. One of the most important roles Will has held is a member of our peer support team. Along with Sergeant Kobernick, they understand the role of mental health support for their fellow officers. Over the last 20 years, Sergeant Wood has received 13 letters of appreciation, 3 longevity awards, 1 safe driving award, 17 unit citations, 2 citations, 6 life-saving awards, 1 distinguished service award, and he was Officer of the Year in 2016. He also has a bachelor's degree from Columbia Southern University. At this time, I would like to invite Will's daughter, Margot, to come up and stand with him. I'm sure she will steal the show. I would also like to invite Clerk Bachman to administer the supervisory oath of office, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the provisions of the Charter, all ordinances of the City of Farmington, and to faithfully discharge your duties as a sergeant of the Public Safety Department to the best of your ability? I do. Just have to sign 2 times. You.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
All right.
hard as you can, Marco.
That is going to be the best picture ever.
And with a certificate, this officer shall have the authority, responsibility, and privileges appropriate to the rank of sergeant. This date, April 20th.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you to our city officials, chief, and the department for your faith in me. But more importantly, I'd like to thank my wife, Mary, for taking care of our daughter, Margot, and our home and all of the curveballs that life inevitably throws at us. She's always on top of everything, and she always knocks it out of the park. So couldn't do it without her. But I'd also like to thank my parents, Gary and Joan, and my in-laws, Charlie and Janine. At this first responder thing, it's not a solo deal. It's a team effort. It's a family affair. And couldn't do it without you guys. So just thanks for all the love and the support. And again, City Council and Chief, I appreciate your faith in me, and I look forward to the challenge, and I won't let you down. Thanks.
Mike Weir. Come on up. Mike Weir joined the Farmington Public Safety Department in 2021, and it was immediately evident that he was going to progress quickly up the ranks. It's pretty rare and just as impressive that in 5 years he has risen to the rank of commander. But his leadership skills and dedication to self-improvement have paved the way for his professional advancement. Mike has an extensive background in emergency services, which include previous experience in the fire service and supervisory roles. Mike served as the deputy chief for the South Lyon Fire Department before coming to Farmington. He is also the communications supervisor for Huron Valley Ambulance. Since joining the department, Mike got to work on his education, and in that 5 years, he completed his bachelor's and master's degree from Columbia Southern University. Mike has also served as a field training officer and as a fire instructor for the department. I would like to invite Mike's fiancée, Jillian, to join us. Mrs. Blackman, if you would, please.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the provisions of the Charter, all ordinances of the City of Farmington, and to faithfully discharge your duties as a commander of the Public Safety Department to the best of your ability? Yes. So just sign here and here. This is for you. And congratulations.
Certificate, this officer shall have the authority, responsibility, and privileges appropriate to the rank of commander. This day, April 20th, 2026. Congratulations. Get my paper. You see, I did the same thing.
All right, I would like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to my family, my parents, Dean and Debbie. They've been through this journey with me the whole, I don't know, what, almost 25 years now. My soon-to-be mother-in-law, Sharon, and my fiancée, Jillian. A career in public safety often means missed holidays, foregone social events, late nights, early mornings, and time away from the people that we love. Our families make sacrifices right alongside of us, and I truly believe that they have one of the hardest jobs of all. Their unwavering support allows us in public safety to do what we do, and I can't overstate how much that means to me. I would like to thank City Manager, Mayor LaRusso, City Council, for their continued support of the Farmington Public Safety Department. Providing us with the equipment and resources necessary to do our jobs is incredibly important. But just as important is the strong working relationship and trust between our department and city leadership. This partnership is a major reason why this is such a great city to work for. I would also like to recognize Director Johannesson and Deputy Director Wash for their leadership, vision, commitment to our organization. Their dedication sets us apart from other organizations and creates an environment where people are encouraged to grow, lead, and succeed. I am proud to put on this uniform and come to work every day, and I consider it a true privilege to be part of this department. I'm excited to continue my career in this new role and look forward to continuing to make Farmington such a great place to be. Thank you for everyone who has supported me throughout this journey. I am truly honored to stand before you tonight and humbled by the opportunity to continue serving.
And finally, Shane Wash. Could you join, please? Shane Wash began his career in law enforcement in 1996, and in December of 2005, he joined the Farmington Public Safety Department. Throughout his career, he has served with distinction across every level of the agency. His past roles include serving as a patrol officer, detective, sergeant, and commander. Shane is a dedicated department trainer with prior field training as a field training officer, directly shaping and mentoring the next generation of law enforcement professionals. Shane has been recognized throughout his career, and he has been the recipient of numerous department awards and commendations, including 4 letters of appreciation, 3 longevity awards, 3 safe driving awards, 13 unit citations, 1 professional excellence award, 5 citations, and 1 life-saving award. Shane is also a professor at the School of Craft College, teaching criminal justice, fire technology, and homeland security. He also serves as a lead emergency vehicle operations instructor for the Wayne County Regional Police Academy. In addition to his extensive field experience, Shane has maintained a lifelong commitment to academic and professional excellence. He holds a bachelor's degree from Eastern Michigan University and a master's degree from Webster's University. Furthering executive leadership training, he also recently completed the prestigious police and school staff and command at Northwestern University. Shane is joined by his wife, Jennifer, who will pin his badge on his uniform.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Michigan, the provisions of the Charter, all ordinances of the City of Farmington, and to faithfully discharge your duties as Deputy Director of the Public Safety Department to the best of your ability?
I do.
Share there.
2 spots.
They could all be doctors, every one of these signatures.
That's very Congratulations.
And I realize I jumped the gun here, so you got
That's okay.
out of order. Ma'am?
It's off. Yep.
Certificate, this officer shall have the authority, responsibility, and privileges appropriate to the rank of Deputy Director. Sergeant didn't make sense.
Okay, and I'll say a couple words. First, thank you to our City Council, Mayor LaRussa, and the City Manager, David Murphy. Your continued support of our Public Safety Department is appreciated and creates a positive work environment for our officers. So thank you. Thank you to Director Johannesson for your friendship over the many years we worked together and your trust in me to be your Deputy Director. Thank you to some of my friends here in the audience today. Your friendship and support is always appreciated. Thank you to my father-in-law and to my mother, who has always been supportive of my career and has never once questioned my career choices. The next person I'd like to thank is my mentor. Kenny is a retired law enforcement leader, and he coached me a long time ago to a 3rd place finish in the Junior Olympics. Ever since then, I looked up to him in life and in career. And so thank you for guiding me to this point and the future. Finally, to my wife, Jennifer, you're my biggest supporter and have always believed in me and been with me throughout this journey. Without you, it would be impossible to do what I do and achieve what I have. So thank you. I love you. Thank you very much.
On behalf of the members of the Farmington Public Safety Department, I would like to thank City Council, Mayor LaRussa, City Manager Murphy, for the support and dedication to this department. We couldn't do this without you. And your Deputy Director Wash, Commander Weir, Sergeant Wood, and Sergeant Kopernick, congratulations on your promotion. I wish you nothing but happiness and success in your new roles. Thank you, everybody. Do a quick picture, if that's okay?
Yes.
Everybody leaves.
Thank you again, Chief Johannesson. It's always a pleasure to see us promoting from within and seeing growth in the force. We're very blessed to have a committed and dedicated public safety department, and your leadership makes all the difference. And thank you for bringing up such great leaders as we've seen tonight. Next item on the agenda is item 7, new business, 7A, e-bike ordinance discussion. Mr. Murphy.
So I think we have our attorney here to talk about the latest and greatest information on e-bikes, and then I think kind of a discussion, is that correct? Would you
Yes,
come
Mr.
up,
Murphy.
Joe Ellen?
I will introduce Jo Ellen. She's the city attorney that I've been working with hand in hand with this e-bike conversation. And there's been some movement, so I would like her to be able to address the questions.
Hello, do we have questions, or do we want to start with?
I thought you might give an overview
Sure.
of what we've learned since the last time we were together.
So the last time we were in the work session meeting, I had provided an opinion that electric bicycles were not, we did not find them being specifically permitted under the Michigan Vehicle Code. And that's because there is no section that specifically says they're permitted on sidewalks, which bicycles are. There's something that specifically permits bicycles, nothing that specifically permits electric bicycles. And since that time, I've had the ability to speak with people from the Michigan League of Bicyclists who work with this all the time. And one of their attorneys pointed out to me that there is no section in the vehicle code that specifically prohibits electric bicycles on sidewalks either. So I did discuss this with Tom, and we decided to reevaluate and reconsider that the vehicle code does not specifically prohibit them, but it does specifically permit a city to adopt an ordinance to prohibit them on sidewalks. So that is the change. So you can still, we previously said you could do an ordinance, but without an ordinance, you would not be able to just enforce a prohibition of electric bicycles on sidewalks under the vehicle code. Now, you have, generally, since the city has adopted the vehicle code, you do enforce the vehicle code, and this is a unique situation where there is a specific section that speaks to having ordinance. So that is our conclusion, that you would need the ordinance to, if you wished to prohibit electric bikes on sidewalks. And it is in the, if you had trails in the Natural Resources Act, there's another section that speaks to trails. But you do not have trails, you have parks. So you could regulate them in your parks, and you could regulate them on sidewalks. You could limit that to the downtown area if you wished, or you could choose not to have any regulation at all. So we did just draft an ordinance for you to get ideas if it's something you're interested in looking at, suggestions on what that would look like. And again, the first section is just for parks, so if you wanted only to prohibit them in your parks, you could do that first part of the ordinance and leave the sidewalk part alone. Or if you wanted to look at the sidewalk, there's some language there relating to sidewalks and specifically in the downtown area. And I will explain also that this is a relatively new area for municipalities to be getting into. So there is no case law that I could have gone to find a case that told me yes or no on the sidewalks. There is no Attorney General opinion. There's no secondary legal sources that discuss this either. So we reevaluated based on discussion with people who specialize in the bicycle industry.
Thank you, Ms. Shortley. Questions from the council? Ms. Taylor and then Mr. Schneeman.
I have a couple general questions first. As far as the Attorney General opinion, I feel like that might be a useful thing down the road, although not necessarily for this discussion. How does one go about getting such an opinion?
You generally ask a state legislator to get that. They have to request that from the Attorney General's office.
Okay, is that something Farmington or other SEMCOG or MML, somebody could do?
Well, I don't know if it's necessary specifically on whether or not they're permitted on the sidewalks. There is a little issue we're looking into, misdemeanor versus civil infraction, that is unclear under the statute. But in general, if you want an Attorney General opinion, it's through a state legislator who then requests it officially from the Attorney General.
Do you have something to add here?
So I ran that gauntlet once before. So typically, the request from the legislator has to pertain to a state law, clarification on a state law, state regulation, or from a state regulating authority. The Attorney General will refer us to our own municipal council if this is something that's local. So they will not weigh in on a topic. If it was something in the motor vehicle code or something in a state statute that was applying to this, then a legislator could ask for an Attorney General opinion. But in my experience, when it comes to local topics, they will not weigh in. They will refer us to our own municipal council.
And I guess just to add to that, as Joellen said, this is kind of fairly new.
Yeah.
I mean, eventually, we're going to start getting some court decisions on tickets that are written, and so you'll develop case law eventually on the question.
Back to the local issue here, though, on the matter at hand. You said we could regulate different things through ordinance, and a couple things you mentioned were speed and area. Could you give me some examples of the types of things that we could regulate, not just banning them or allowing them, but like the kinds of activities as pertains to how to use e-bikes?
Right. So in the vehicle code for bicycles, there's a whole section that speaks to yielding to pedestrians, having certain lighting. You could incorporate those to electric bicycles as well. So you could have a section talking about the behavior of the riders if you wish to do something along those lines.
I'm really glad that we have these choices as opposed to, in the previous discussion, things like that weren't really an option. It was just like enforce it or don't and ban them or allow them. And that's pretty black and white. Given the choices we thought we had, I originally was for banning them on the sidewalk. But now, now that we have more options, I think we have the opportunity for a more nuanced approach. I want to create I think we all want to create a Farmington that's pedestrian and bike friendly. And I'm concerned that banning them off the sidewalk completely forces e-bike riders into the road, which roads that largely don't have the infrastructure for people to safely ride. I wish we did, but we're not at that point yet. I spoke with some of our residents, including some of our city volunteers, who chimed in with some insight on what it's like to ride your e-bike, like, for example, to Bushes or on Orchard Lake. And the takeaway is, it's pretty scary. I don't want to accidentally set up a situation where we're basically forcing people who want to get away from cars or who want to exercise and use e-bikes, forcing them to either be in an unsafe condition or just kind of forcing people back into using cars. I don't want that. So I think the speed here is the problem, and having a speed limit would allow us to target the specific individuals who allow public safety to target specific individuals who were causing the problem and not punish the people who want to bike to Bushes instead of drive. So that's one thing I'd like to see in this ordinance. Additionally, could we require e-bike registration?
You could. You currently have something about regular bike registration, which
but it's not
is not enforced. So if you wanted to go that route, but you would need to set up a mechanism to do that.
I definitely think that would be worth looking into, like annual renewal and registration. I'm not talking about to try to make money off of this. It's more so to make sure that there's accountability. Maybe we could even have like a sticker that goes on your e-bike, like a green sticker, you're renewed for this year, like they do for car licenses. How about age restriction?
That's already in the vehicle code in terms of what ages can safely ride on electric bicycles and what ages have to have helmets. So I don't think you would be able to change that because that's already provided for.
All right. And then there was a part in the draft ordinance about suggesting no e-bikes or any kind of bike or scooter in the downtown at all. I do think that's a good idea. It's pretty dangerous given the high level of pedestrian traffic that we have, especially during farmers market. Usually we have free programming almost every day in downtown. And I think a walk your e-bike or scooter, whatever it is, would make it a lot safer. So I would support a walk your bike in downtown ordinance, but everywhere else, a speed limit on the sidewalks. So that's my thoughts.
Thank you, Ms. Taylor. Mr. Schneeman.
I would be very supportive of outright prohibition of e-bikes on sidewalks. I think trying to somehow regulate a speed limit on sidewalks would be nearly impossible. I don't know how public safety would do that. As far as enforcement is concerned, I have thought about it quite a bit. I actually jockeyed for position on the way here tonight, out in front of Ground Control Coffee with an e-bike that took up most of the sidewalk, so I stepped aside so that the motorized vehicle could go by on the sidewalk. We talk about being a pedestrian-friendly community, and it's about pedestrian-friendly community. I don't see any reason why a motorized vehicle, whether it's got two wheels or more, should be allowed to be on the sidewalk. It's my opinion that if you are mature enough to be able to operate a vehicle like that, that you should be able to operate that on the streets safely. All across the country, cyclists share streets with motorists every day. And I understand the argument that people don't want to be pushing e-bike users into the streets and somehow create an unsafe environment for the e-bike user because now they're jockeying for position with cars and trucks. But at the same time, the answer isn't to put pedestrians in jeopardy that are walking on sidewalks where they should be allowed to feel safe, that they're not going to be hit. I do think that if we don't have any sort of regulation of this, there will be accidents, and some of them that could be really severe. If somebody gets hit by an e-bike that's going even just 10 miles an hour, depending on how that happens, that could be a really, really serious accident. So I'd be an advocate of no e-bikes on sidewalks and no e-bikes within the parks either.
Thank you. Others from the council, Mr. Parkins.
Yeah, I've actually been doing a little bit of looking on this, and I mean, it's almost difficult to find a non-e-bike bike these days. So many of them have transitioned to, you know, I know there's different levels of this, but they're becoming more and more common to have the e-bikes. I agree with Steve in a lot of ways, Mr. Shaman, sorry, that you should be feeling safe, especially in the downtown area where we have so many people biking. But I've had a conversation with a few people from the Chatham Hills neighborhood that frequently go on a slow bike ride in a big group to the downtown area, and they don't feel safe, in a group of 20 people of all ages trying to commute to the downtown area on their bikes. I think I've seen success in towns or different cities that I've been in where they have a sign as you enter the downtown area to now walk your bike or move to the street, which I think we could probably see some success with. I don't think that trying to monitor speed or age or registration would be feasible for our public safety department. That seems a bit more challenging and maybe not the proper use of that resource. And then the last piece of it is the e-moto, which does appear to be, visibly, physically different than an e-bike in the sense that you need no pedaling to power it at all. And I feel like those should be treated no different than like a moped. And I think right now they're being treated kind of like a bicycle. I think maybe regulating those fully to the street would be of benefit to us. It's my take.
Mrs. Bulk.
I think one of my questions is actually for Chief O'Hannison. How has it been going? I know we've had some regulars, shall we say, throughout the city. And I just wonder how those interactions have gone with our officers and those young, especially young people that want to utilize the sidewalks and things.
After our last conversation, we took an educational approach. And I tasked my officers with spending some time downtown and educating people on what we thought was the correct decision at the time where they were not supposed to be on the sidewalk. We had some pushback. We ended up getting in a chase with some juveniles and pursuing them all the way down to Belle Tire and arresting them and taking their bikes and submitting their cases up to the juvenile court. But aside from that, I haven't heard much pushback from the officers. Whenever you take an educational approach, people tend to listen to you because they're not in trouble. It's just a conversation. So I haven't heard negatives from the officers.
So a couple things from my side in doing some homework. I can say that other cities that have a similar downtown configuration to ours, like Rochester, they recently adopted an ordinance requiring all bicyclists and e-bikers to walk their stuff in their downtown. Their downtown is configured quite a bit like ours, like a slalom of outdoor seating and planters and landscaping, and it's It's really, I think the gap in Farmington is we really haven't decided infrastructure-wise where we want bicycles to traverse the city. I've seen cities that do it in the roadway. In Europe, they have extra wide sidewalks and they have designated bike lanes there for alongside non-motorized and pedestrian traffic. I was able to get some data from SEMCOG from 2000 to 2024 about bicycle crashes and crash severity. I won't go through all of that in here. I can forward it to everybody if you're interested in it. But in Farmington, in the most recent, there has not been, there was 0 bicycle incidents, either crashes or other injuries. There's nothing in 2024. There were 4 minors in 2023, 4 minors in 2022. So whatever data there is indicates I'm wondering if we shouldn't consider watching and waiting. Like, I'm curious what the do nothing scenario looks like. So if we do nothing and stand on our reading previously, because we've stood on that reading of the law before, that it's not explicitly allowed, so therefore it's not allowed. We've stood on that before. Would that just end us up contributing to the accumulation of case law and potentially, and I asked a question in our last meeting, if an incident were to occur, my understanding from that last conversation is that's a civil matter between the 2 people who had the incident. So I'm curious why we'd recommend legislation when a do-nothing option exists and we can continue to, or at least try to collect some data and see if this is really a problem before we try to solve something. That isn't, at least the data that's available says, is a very, very minor situation here. I'd be curious what a do-nothing scenario, why would you recommend, you gave us the option to do nothing.
Yes, so I'm not specifically recommending
Okay.
you do
Adopt an
one way
ordinance.
or the other. I'm just providing you options. If you were interested in ordinance, there's some wording and potential sections where it would fit in the code of ordinances. It's more probably a public safety, situation of how important you think it is to regulate at this point in time.
Okay. Yeah, no fatals, no suspected serious injury, and there were 2 suspected minor injury for the data that's available in the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For the past 8 years, up to 2024, there have only been 2 suspected minor injuries. And there were incidents where there was no injury, but there was still an incident. Mrs. Balk.
Well, I think a lot of that is because us walkers are fearful enough that we get the heck out of the way. I'm just going to throw that out there. I know for me, and it's not just e-bikes, I will tell you that I have been so many times, and we walk 2 dogs, and my fear is always too that my dogs are going to get hurt or my dog's going to bite someone because they're freaked out because someone's running their mom off the road, and people say nothing. So I do think about so many things in our city. Courtesy needs to be forefront in our message for anything. I think that people should know that if the sidewalk is busy, I should walk my bike. But I don't see that when I walk downtown just this Saturday, and literally a woman stopped dead in front of me, like literally just dead stopped, and I almost nailed into her because she just literally stopped in the middle of the sidewalk, clueless about the universe around her. So that's a whole nother societal question that we have. I want us to also be able to support our public safety in that I appreciate this educational, because I do think that, especially with the under 20 crowd that are thinking this, the entire city is their dirt bike haven, I think that education is really important. I think that they do need to know. I wish there were a few adults that would also hear the same message, that pedestrians have the right of way. So I do support that. I'm wavering whether I think we need to make an ordinance, but I definitely don't want to discourage the educational component. I think that most certainly needs to continue. And I know for me, I have taken, and I'm not confrontational, but if people don't ring their bell or anything, I have tried to really make myself say, words, please, because I feel like people are not, they're just not. And so, you know, we can't have nice things. So you can't have e-bikes if you're gonna, and I really do think that there haven't been accidents because it's the walkers that are being really, really careful and the runners that are being really, really careful, because we all know that we gotta have our head on a swivel because other people are not looking out for us. Cars are not looking out for us. Motorcycles and bikes are not looking out for us. So I agree with Mr. Shaman that if we were to err, I'd like to err in the side of our walkability. Because I think everybody needs to walk a little bit more than, that'll get me on a soapbox if I start talking about why aren't you pedaling? So, but I don't disagree about waiting and seeing.
I did have one additional tactical question. Do I recall correctly that we currently do not allow skateboarding in downtown Farmington? Correct. That is not allowed. So, and that's a non-motorized skateboard. That's regular skateboard. Yeah. So I did want to see if I had my recollection correct there. Okay. Ms. Taylor.
Yeah, I just want to expand on my previous comments a bit. When I suggested regulating things like speed being the big one, and perhaps registration, I'm not suggesting that we go around with the radar gun and like check everybody's speed as they come down the road, nor stopping potential e-bike riders and being like, hey, are you registered? This is more, in my mind, giving public safety a tool to, if there's somebody who's driving recklessly, they can be stopped for this reason. And I'd rather do that than just say, all right, nobody gets to ride on the sidewalk at all. Because there are plenty of e-bike riders who are responsible. They're going to stop. They're going to slow down. I don't want to punish those people. I want to punish the bad actors. So it's just some clarification here. I do think we all agree on walking your bike or scooter or e-bike downtown. So I feel like we could probably pass that right away.
Mr. Schneeman.
Yeah, I guess just after hearing comments from my fellow council members, what I am hearing is that there is at least a majority that would like to be proactive in this regard versus waiting and seeing or being reactive. And I just wanted to throw that out there, that it sounds like there's support for us looking at doing something proactive in this regard.
That's clear. Bikes with tires or wheels less than 14-inch in diameter would be allowed to be ridden, correct? Because the bicycle is only for 14-inch wheels and larger. So kids would still be allowed to ride their bikes under the current motor vehicle code. Do I have that right?
Bicycles are permitted. Yes. This was more regulating electric bikes. However, the section 3168, the A and the B, were more the bicycle etiquette.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to just even focus on that, that talks about giving audible warning when you're approaching a sidewalk, warning pedestrians when you're approaching an intersection. So those were things that maybe you just want to zero on that type of thing right now.
Was there a reason why in section 2132 we called out all three types and in 3167 we didn't? We just said e-bikes not allowed. We didn't specify, like, what was the rationale?
So in section 20, the 2 for 21, I put the definitions in the definitions section, which is 21.
Yeah, but it says class 1, class 2, class 3 not allowed. But then in 3167 it says e-bikes not allowed. It doesn't
Good point.
enumerate them like it does in the other section. I was just curious if you chose that for a reason.
I cannot think of, you
Okay.
could do it either way. You could
Okay,
call it.
that was going to be my next question. Does there
Call it electric bike.
Is
or
there a better
class
one?
2, or
Okay.
3. Yep.
Okay. I haven't heard much about parks. I've only heard about sidewalks. Dearborn Heights adopted an ordinance prohibiting e-bikes in their parks. I'd be curious to hear what people think about that, if your pedestrian experiences. Mr. Schneeman?
Yeah, I did mention in my comments that I would be an advocate of prohibiting them in our parks, for sure.
Other council, Ms. Taylor?
I think it makes sense to be consistent. Whatever we do on the sidewalks, we do the same thing on the park trails. However, I'm not married to that, and if there's a compelling reason to ban them in our parks, I would be open to hearing about that.
What infrastructure would we need to consider providing if we say you can ride your e-bike to a park, but you can't ride it in the park? Do we have the ability to park e-bikes somewhere? Like, where would mopeds and they just take up the parking that we currently have, or how would that work?
They'd have to be locked
Bike
up.
racks.
You'd have to have bike racks.
Yeah, racks. We probably have to add some infrastructure.
Well, Shiawassee has racks at multiple entrances.
And signage. Okay.
So it currently says no bikes in Shiawassee?
There's a huge board with the rules on it. I don't recall it.
Okay.
I think they're allowed.
Okay.
I mean, we are also suggesting revisions to the sections about bicycles. How does everybody feel about bicycle riders? Are we treating them the same as e-bike riders? If you're on a wheeled vehicle on a sidewalk in a heavily trafficked pedestrian area, does this apply to everybody, or are we still just talking about e-bikes? Because there's already a suggestion to modify the bicycle section here.
I think this should apply to everybody. Regular bicycles, e-bicycles, scooters, whether they have a motor or not. It's a fairness thing. You made a good point about the skateboards. This levels the playing field for all kinds of wheeled things that you ride.
Mr. Schneeman.
I understand wanting to apply things in a fair way, I guess, for lack of a better term, but you bring up a legitimate question about non-motorized bicycles, and I think about little kids that are learning to ride a bike, and typically that does occur, or oftentimes that occurs on a city sidewalk. You can't regulate everything, right? At some point, to Councilmember Balk's comments, people also have to use common sense, courtesy, to, be aware of what's going on around them and try and keep others safe. But I don't think that we can apply the same rules to a 4-year-old that's learning on training wheels to a 40-year-old that's on a motorized bike that's going 25 miles an hour down a downtown sidewalk. Councilmember Taylor did suggest that, and I think that the mayor talked about the city of Rochester prohibiting e-bikes in the downtown, and I think sounds like there might be able to be consensus in that regard. But, a regular bicycle can also get up a fair amount of speed as well. So you've got a mass of a body in a bicycle that's going, again, 10 miles an hour. And if it hits somebody that's coming around the corner, coming out of a store, which we have a lot of that in our downtown, you could have just as serious of an injury. So I think that I don't see little children trying to learn how to ride a bike typically in our downtown. So it sounds like there might be opportunity for consensus on prohibitions on certainly e-bikes, but maybe in bicycles on sidewalks in the downtown area.
Is there a distinction that can be drawn between riding the e-bike and walking your bike or your e-bike? Could we say walking your bike or your e-bike on the sidewalk is permissible? Or are we saying?
I think that's something.
Or are we saying
we're
you
not saying
cannot
you
have them
can't
on
ride your bike to our downtown. We're saying that once you get downtown, you're either expected to park it and lock it up or walk it to wherever you want to park it and lock it up. Because maybe you're going to Spruce and Ash or TJ Maxx, so and if you live where I live, then you have to go all the way across town. I think that's reasonable.
I think signs that say walk your bike are pretty self-explanatory. We need some more bike infrastructure. We have to call on Pathways Committee for that.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like we want to see some language around no bikes on sidewalks, definitely in downtown. No bikes on sidewalks, definitely in the parks. Citywide, downtown, do you want to see both options? What do we want to see?
I want to see an option where we allow them but regulate the speed.
Is there anybody else on the council who wants to see speed regulation in a draft ordinance?
I just don't know how easy that is to.
It's hard enough with cars.
I was going to kind of say, when we're almost all getting wiped out in a crosswalk, we have a bigger problem we have to solve first, is getting the motorists to watch for the pedestrians.
I don't think we can put it in there if we can't enforce it.
May I ask a question of public safety? Is that something that if someone was flying down at 40 miles an hour, would you be able to tell that they were, and could you stop them for that?
So measuring a speed of a bicycle is not something our radars are designed to do. It's going to pick up the largest item or largest vehicle traveling. So if it's a bicycle and a motor vehicle, it's only going to show the speed of the motor vehicle as it approaches or goes away from us. So measuring the speed of a bike would be very difficult compared to other traffic around.
You need a laser instrument or something else. You need different instrumentation for that.
Could we invest in that?
Doesn't exist.
But again, it's, at this point, that is considered a dangerous behavior, right? Like if an officer saw someone kind of barreling down the sidewalk, that is gonna be that educational moment.
So with our officers, we like to stay away from subjectivity. We like to
Sure.
have the color of the
Yeah.
law and the letter of the law, and interpretation becomes difficult, where my interpretation of driving recklessly is different than your interpretation of driving recklessly. And I write a ticket based on my interpretation, and you wouldn't in yours, so it muddies the waters. In driving a vehicle, you have careless driving and reckless driving. Reckless driving being the highest of the two, where I have to prove willful and wantonness in a court of law to be able to get a conviction for reckless driving. I don't know how we apply that to a bicycle without rules set by council. And then educating the public on those rules is very difficult too, because if there aren't rules like that in other municipalities, and now we have new rules in Farmington, how do I educate people on what those rules are, where a speed limit on a bike is 5 miles an hour, or something to that effect? It makes it very difficult for us to do our job consistently and fairly across the board.
So we have a starting place, I feel like, at least. You know, where we say the walking of the bike.
From a public safety enforcement standpoint, it's easier to say either riding the bike or not riding the bike, not riding the bike at this speed or riding this bike
Sure.
in this manner. Because I can articulate whether they were on the bike or they were not on the bike. It's cut and dry.
Okay, I have to ask a follow-up question here, because I have run full tilt when I was a kid down the street toward one of those speed wagons to see how fast I was running, and it picked me up.
It will pick you up, but if there's any other vehicles on the roadway, it's not going to pick you up. It's going to pick up the largest. So
Got it.
The way a radar works is it sends out a teardrop of radio waves, and those are reflected back to the radar unit. And the strongest, largest signal is what displays in our unit. So if a car is driving even slower than the bicycle or a person walking, which they're not designed to pick up, it's always going to pick up the vehicle. It'll happen with a truck. Like if a motorcycle's in front of a big semi-truck, it'll pick up the semi-truck before it'll pick up the motorcycle.
Right, that makes sense. But I'm talking about if they're riding on the sidewalk, then you're not necessarily going to be a car behind them. There's going to be more sidewalk behind them.
Our radars are mounted in our patrol cars. So we'd have to be driving down the road. And even if another car is over here, if we're on this side of the road, it's not going to pick up the bike. It's going to pick up the car that's here. So we would have to somehow only use it in an area where there's no other traffic on a sidewalk.
How fast were you going?
I was going 13 miles an hour. That was fast. Then I slammed into it because I had to get close enough for it to pick me up. Are there any other cities, though, where they have looked into or tried to pass an ordinance about speed of bikes on sidewalks?
I have not seen any. I would defer to Joellen if she's seen.
No, not, I mean, I don't know.
Wixom?
On a speed limit? I have not seen.
All right, well, from the comment on the peanut gallery, I would like to look into that before we rule it out.
Okay.
I appreciate it.
No.
Okay, so
South Line.
public comments later in the agenda here. The council's having a discussion. There's been a statement by a council member to ask for investigation into regulating speed of bicycles on sidewalk infrastructure. I've heard no support for that. So did anybody change their mind in the last 5 minutes that they want to see some draft language about regulating speed? Is there any change of mind about that? Okay. My understanding, and I'm going to ask Joellen and Tom, do you have what you need, or do you need any more explicit statement about what we're asking for?
So you're interested in no riding the bikes downtown, they would be required to walk them?
Prohibition in downtown, prohibition in the parks, possible prohibition citywide. They can be walked everywhere on the sidewalk. They can't be ridden on the sidewalk. That's what I've heard up here. Did I miss anything? From the majority?
Got that.
Okay.
Okay, back with the draft revised. It should be very similar to this one, but we'll see if there's some tweaks.
You'll define downtown and all of that, and
Yeah, I need to get a definition downtown. Yes, I will. Thank you.
thank you very much. Thank you, council. The next item is 7B, first reading of amendments to Article 7, Section 35105D, Article 14, Section 36172, and Article Section 35252 of the zoning ordinance. These amendments are intended to modify certain parking requirements and to include a definition of gross usable area. Mr. Murphy.
I think you said it all,
There you go.
and it wasn't easy.
And I know we covered it in the last meeting a little bit. We had some discussion. So if there's nothing else is there any questions or further comments from the council on this topic? Hearing none, is there a motion?
Move to approve the first reading of amendments to Chapter 35, Article 7, Section 35105, Article 14, Section 36172, and Article 21, Section 35252 of the zoning ordinance.
Support.
Motion by Mrs. Balk, supported by Ms. Taylor. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
Falk.
Yes.
LaRussa.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Schneeman.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. Item 7C, interlocal agreement for damage assessment mutual aid. Mr. Murphy.
I've asked Mr. Bodell to talk about that. It's mutual aid type of thing.
Mr. Bodell, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate it, council. This item, you have a staff report in front of you. The Oakland County building officials has had this for a very long time, and something slipped through the cracks several years ago, and it kind of disappeared. It's been rewritten. I have no idea if Farmington has ever been a part of this in the past. This is basically mutual aid for building departments in something that it would affect FEMA funding, things like that. The Oakland County Emergency Management is the collector of the information for our area. That would go to the state would take it to FEMA. But in order to do that, you have to have building inspectors write these problems up if you have that problem. And if you have a massive thing in Farmington, you have one, 2 of us, you'd never get them all written up in the amount of time. You only get about 72 hours. So that's what this is about. If you have questions.
105 seconds, well done. Are there any questions for Mr. Bodell? I think the clearest example is the Zipper storm, where we had a lot of tree clearing, we got a lot of help from other places, so I think it's right for us to do our part. If there's no discussion, is there a motion?
Move to approve the interlocal agreement for damage assessment mutual aid and authorize the city manager to sign on behalf of the city.
Support.
Motion by Mrs. Balk, supported by Ms. Taylor. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
LaRussa.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Schneeman.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Falk.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item 7D, video camera antenna purchase. Chief O'Hannison, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The original video camera system was installed in 2014 and has grown since then. Aging and outdated antennas are failing, which causes outages in the network and the effective video quality. The old system utilized single point-to-point antennas. In addition of new cameras, has overwhelmed their capabilities, and several other older antennas have stopped working. The attached proposal will replace the antiquated single-point antennas with multi-point antennas, which will increase reliability, enhance video quality, and allow for expansion in the future. The proposal also replaces the remaining original analog cameras at the station and adds a camera in the interview room and adds a camera inside the property room located at our DPW. This was part of the 2026 capital improvement budget and comes in under budget.
Thank you. Questions for the chief? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Move to approve the purchase agreement with ASC Advanced Satellite Communications to replace antennas and upgrade existing camera system in the amount of $25,998.71.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Taylor, supported by Mrs. Ball. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
Perkins.
Yes.
Schneeman.
Yes.
Taylor. Yes. Balk.
Yes.
LaRusso.
Yes. Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. For item 7E, I'm going to pass the gavel to Mayor Pro Tem Balk on the advice of the city attorney. I sit on the Clemis Executive Committee, so I'm going to abstain from the discussion and the vote on this next item. So Mayor Pro Tem Balk.
Could we first have a motion to allow you to abstain, and then a vote on that, if that's okay?
Move to allow Mayor Pro Tem, or, sorry, that's me. Mayor LaRussa to abstain from item 7E for the vote and discussion.
Support.
Do we need a,
All in favor is fine.
okay, call, all in favor?
Yeah.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so this is also, what?
Do I have to leave or just abstain?
Typically would step down, yes.
Awesome.
Plug your ears.
I'm not listening to any of you anymore.
All right. And this one is also Director Johannesson.
Yes, ma'am. For many years, Clemis has operated as a group of law enforcement agencies collaborating with Oakland County to share data and information technology services. In approximately 2018, Oakland County formalized the services provided by its IT department by requiring an interlocal agreement with municipalities for each of those services, including Clemis. The Clemis Authority was created to enable the county to transfer to a separate legal entity most of the operations and services the county IT department provided to Clemis agencies. This agreement allows the Public Safety Department to continue to utilize Clemis services such as our computer-aided dispatch, police and fire reporting software, booking software, and Oak Video under the umbrella of the newly created authority.
Any questions?
So this, through the mayor, the services remain the same. It's essentially changed the makeup of the governing body from basically Oakland County to this authority, which you as a municipality would be joining and participating in, like ROSAC or something like that.
Okay.
So it's probably not going to be a change in what the Public Safety Department sees and receives as a service, but it's a governance kind of format.
Rearrangement.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Without this, we would have to find new report writing software and new.
Right,
ways to
right.
operate as a department.
Oof. We don't want you to have to do that. Anyone have any questions or? Otherwise, I would, yes?
Move to approve the resolution agreement with the Courts and Law Enforcement Information Systems Clemis Authority.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Perkins, support by Ms. Taylor. Just because we'll call for roll.
Okay, Schneeman.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Balk.
Yes.
And Perkins.
Yes.
Motion passes. Oh, and abstain by, I don't know if we
Yes.
put that in.
Yep, I have it on the record.
Perfect.
Mayor LaRussa abstained and left the room.
Okay. Do I need to entertain a motion to allow,
You can just come back in.
okay.
He's still here.
He left, he got cake, ran out. The door is locked, oh no, I thought the door was locked too. Moving on to item 7F.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Balk.
You're so welcome.
Warner Mansion asbestos abatement. Mr. Murphy.
It's actually going to be handled by DPW Superintendent.
Mr. Leach, the floor is yours.
Evening, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. May of 2025, the city contracted ABF Environmental to perform an asbestos identification survey of the Warner Mansion in preparation for the possible renovation of the home. That was built in the 1800s, and an addition that was added in the early 1900s. 61 samples were collected throughout the home. The items found to contain asbestos are window glazing, exterior door caulk, wall penetration mortar in the furnace room, and pipe insulation in the basement. City has determined that it is more favorable to remove the addition portion of the building rather than renovate due to the reliability of existing foundations and overall function for future needs. Prior to removal, asbestos abatement is required by federal regulations. During the removal process, any particles that become airborne are captured with HEPA air scrubbers. 10% contingency will be added to the quote for any unforeseen abatement discovered during the removal process. This could be pipes and walls that may have asbestos insulation or something like that on them. 3 quotes were requested, and ABF Environmental was the lowest bid. Want to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from the council? Source of funds for this is going to be the grant or some other bucket, or?
This is through the grant, yes.
We'll use the grant money
Yes,
for
sir.
it?
Great.
We are eligible to use it for that purpose. Okay. Thank you.
Currently, yes.
Thank you. If there's nothing further, is there a motion?
Move to award asbestos abatement and air monitoring at the Warner Mansion located at 33805 Grand River Avenue, Farmington, Michigan 48335 to ABF Environmental of Farmington Hills, Michigan, in the amount not to exceed $36,014.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Taylor, supported by Mrs. Balk. Clerk Bachman, will you please call the roll?
Taylor.
Yes.
Bulk.
Yes.
LaRussa.
Yes.
Parkins.
Yes.
Schneeman.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to the new item 7G, Principal Shopping District Renewal Resolution. Mr. Murphy.
So the Principal Shopping District, PSD, if you will, special assessment is scheduled to expire in 2026. The PSD currently generates $225,259 in the DDA district and is critical to their operations. The DDA formed a committee to review the PSD renewal. City administration is requesting that the City Council adopt the first resolution to initiate the renewal process. The first resolution simply instructs the City Manager and the DDA Director to provide a report, which will be submitted in September. There are a total of 5 resolutions before the assessment can be renewed. And this would be the first one. We're just trying to get a jump on it.
Any questions from the council? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution number 1, instructing the city manager and the DDA executive director to prepare a report for the city council to consider regarding the renewal of the principal shopping district special assessment.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Taylor, supported by Mrs. Balk. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. That motion carries unanimously. That brings us to item 8, public comment. This is the second portion of the meeting where members of the public who wish to address the city council may do so. Is there anyone at this time who wishes to make public comment? Please state your name and address for the record, and if you can, keep your comments to 3 to 5 minutes, if at all possible.
I will do that, yes. Patrick Thomas, 22432 Brookdale Street. I know I've spoken with the Pathways folks about the topic of the bike or bike legislation concerns, e-bike concerns, and I just wanted to, before I lose my voice anymore, wanted to clarify a few points. I think one of the things that is most important for everybody to consider, I know the word e-bike gets thrown around somewhat loosely, and I think that it's important to make a distinction between e-bikes, which is to say class 1, 2, 3 bikes that are made for that purpose, versus like the e-moto / scooters, et cetera, which are not already under Michigan law and several other, jurisdictions are not allowed on sidewalks. So really, when we talk about e-bike laws, I just want to make sure that we're talking, it's not the kids on the motorcycles that are, or scooters. I've even seen, as I think we've discussed before, people on gas scooters riding down the sidewalk on Grand River, which obviously is not permitted under Michigan law as it is. So I love to see more enforcement there, but direct the enforcement where it belongs, I guess I would say there. To the point of Grand River and e-bike, and I guess for the sake of disclosure, in fact, two sakes of disclosure. First off, I am the chairperson on the Grand River Corridor Improvement Authority, so I have some bias in trying to make sure that Grand River stays safe for all forms of transportation. Also an e-bike user myself, so there's the other bias. Particularly if I would, and I used to use it for commuting, right? When we say e-bikes, in my case, it's pedal assist bike, so it doesn't move unless you're pedaling. It only kind of adds power to assist you in going that speed. And if you're going to, north up Orchard Lake, or as I live close to the dirt portion of 9 Mile, I find myself on Freedom Road quite a bit. Grand River Avenue, all these being 45-mile-an-hour areas with very little, shoulder area. And so I think, again, talking about the hypothetical going to Bush's situation, if you've ever been on that section of Grand River going west out of town, you understand that the lanes are already barely wide enough for cars, and the people there are just going as fast as they can to get to the freeway. It's very dicey. And if anybody doesn't believe me, go take your bike out there and try and ride out to Bush's. You're kind of taking your life into your own hands. To the point that was mentioned earlier, I think that is a concern that I'd just like to make sure is kind of taken into consideration when you kind of deliberate further on that. In the interest of kind of keeping my comments short, maybe I will not go into some of the legalese about all of those discussions. Let me just scan my notes here. I guess I will say I'm pretty sure South Lyon does have a speed limit for their bikes. I want to say 15 miles an hour. So you might want to give that a check. Again, I don't know, like to your point about enforcement, maybe that is an issue, and I can respect where that lands, but they also have prohibitions against e-bike use in the downtown area. I think that's, understandable, let's say, but I think blanket prohibition would be, from my understanding of the law, not something that, like, you can't have an ordinance that says no e-bikes, period, but you can have one that says no, just like with bicycles, not in this particular area. Same thing with registration. I believe that was tried because of some situation in Detroit years ago about having a separate registration, and they got rid of that for legal reasons. So I'll leave it to the legal experts as far as whether that's something that would be appropriate there. But if there are any questions, I'd love to answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, I will wrap it up with that thought.
Thank you for your comment.
Okay. And come to the Grand River Corridor Improvement Authority.
There you go.
Thank you. That brings us to item 9, city council comments. Are there any members of the city council who wish to make comment this evening?
I would.
Ms. Taylor?
While we were waiting, I looked up briefly the news articles on South Lyon and its e-bike ordinance, which was passed earlier this spring. I think it was in April. Obviously, I haven't had time to read the entire thing, but two of the things that stuck out to me was there was a speed limit of 15 miles an hour, which I'd be very curious as to how they're enforcing that. I feel like if they passed it, they must think that they can enforce it, or it's a good thing. No respect to our public safety, but I would like to see no disrespect, I would like to see what they plan on doing and how they plan on enforcing that. They also have a prohibition against careless and reckless driving on e-bikes. So I would like for our city attorney to look into that, and just so we have the information, thank you, on what was behind that decision. And I plan to look into it as well. I don't want to create a dangerous situation for bikers. I'm just thinking of myself riding out on Orchard Lake or on Grand River with the cars, and I'd probably die.
Thank you. Mr. Schneeman?
I was disheartened earlier in public comment to hear of residents of Floral Park expressing their frustrations with the lack of, or perceived lack of enforcement with what they see as blight in their neighborhood. And while I don't pretend to understand exactly what it is or have seen what they're talking about, with regard to any sort of blight that's perceived by residents, but also speeds. I know that that section of Shiawassee is challenging because it does have a higher speed limit just to the east. So I guess I would just request that our administration and public safety maybe increase efforts in particularly that stretch of Shiawassee. I know years ago when I was campaigning and going through Floral Park, that was a constant refrain with residents there was speeds, particularly on Shiawassee, though. So that seems like a relatively easy thing to address. And I know that we have certainly have the capability and technology to do that. But also with the blight, we've, as a council, have repeatedly supported enforcement, and we've put funding towards that and created a position. And so I'd love to see some of these residents. Again, they said that they've contacted the city for years. I'd love to see some of their concerns addressed.
Let me give others a chance first. Any others for council comment? No. So I share, I'll echo Councilmember Schneeman's disheartenment. I think also it was really difficult to listen to, an entire stretch of residents that live on that street, kind of repeatedly say that they've had over multiple years been trying to contact the city for some help. I'm also hopeful that we can prioritize some of that work, and also if there's some way to improve the level of reporting. I think that some of the reporting that we get in terms of code enforcement is still a bit opaque, whereas I think we get very clear metrics and things from public safety. I still feel like sometimes it's a little bit of work to root through the detail on the code enforcement topics, and seeing the straight line between first contact and resolved and checked off the list. It's a bit difficult for me to determine. I don't know how others would feel, but I was equally disheartened to hear the feedback. Congratulations to all of our public safety promotions this evening. That's always a great. It's always a great night to see that happen. And again, just seeing us promote from within, that's something that not a lot of communities can boast about. And so I'm very pleased to see that. Ms. Taylor, you had another comment.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I just want to, for the record, echo the comments of both my colleagues here who spoke about the Floral Park concerns. We have ordinances that are supposed to keep these issues at hand. We have rental ordinance, we have ordinances against where cars can be parked and commercial vehicles, and they need to be enforced. So I just wanted to add my support on the record for looking into that and making that a target area.
Thank you. If there's nothing further for the city council this evening, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn?
Support.
Motion by Ms. Taylor, supported by Mrs. Balk. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We're adjourned at 8:41 PM.